Good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's your host, Tashana, the hostess with the mostest. Let's get into this. I'm in the back room, so not the upper. I'm in the back, so you might hear a little echo in the background. Excuse me for that or whatever. But hi guys. No, we're not going to be getting into the periodic table this evening. I did start doing the research I've been continuing rather on the manganese, not to be confused with magnesium, right? The creator wanted me to start applying some of the things that are psychology related to the podcast. So we're going to start incorporating or implementing some information as it pertains to psychology, sociology, basically the academic side, right, of spirituality, because that's basically what it is, right? The scholarly aspect of it. I would say the physical explanation as far as what we can prove, right? Because the spiritual world is mainly comprised of things that we don't understand, things that, we can't see, even if we can understand it, things that are really not easy to prove, right? And they don't really leave us with a lot of room for explanation until psychology or religion, right, comes into play. That is another scholarly or academic perspective of spirituality, right? So yesterday I was just sitting there and then the creator dropped something in my spirit and he was like, parenting styles, right? And then I was like, okay, parenting styles. So we have the permissive, authoritative, neglectful, and authoritarian, right? Like authority, right? The permissive one is the child-driven, rarely gives or enforces rules, overindulges, child to avoid conflict, right? The authoritative, obviously, is what it sounds like. Set clear rules and expectations and boundaries, has open communication with natural consequences, solves problems together with the child. Obviously, we know what the neglectful one is. They avoid the social, emotional, and behavioral needs. They're uninvolved or absent, and they really don't provide much nurturing, attention, love, guidance, anything, right? Then the authoritarian is the one that is basically the strict one, like the one that is like, mommy dearest, don't play no shit type of thing, all right? Now, then the creator said, Aquarius, Sagittarius, parent-child dynamic. Literally, right? This is what I heard. I didn't think this. This is what I heard. So I'm like, okay, I started thinking. And then I started looking at the dynamics between a parent and a child who have the zodiac signs Aquarius or Sagittarius. I was mainly looking at it from the perspective of the parent being the Aquarius and the child being the Sagittarius, although it could be other ways, the other way around, right, with the parent being the Sag and the child being the Aquarius. But either way, this dynamic, and this is going to be one of many conversations, right, in regards to psychology and pairing it with spirituality and astrology and things like that. So I'm just sitting there now. Remind you, this is yesterday, okay? And earlier I had started doing the research for the topic, and then the creator's like, nope, I want you to talk about this evening. So I do know a lot of parent-child dynamics between Aquarius and Sagittarius, okay? So that's the first thing. I mean, directly, right? I mean, seriously, directly. Even on a relationship level, I can see how it could possibly work. Although, not for me, right? But I'm just saying as far as a relationship. Because both of these signs, they enjoy their freedom, they enjoy learning and thinking, they like to explore, they like to have fun, right? So it would make sense. So then I started looking at the parenting styles, and then I'm like, okay, why are you telling me this? And he's like, let's explore the parenting styles as it pertains to zodiac signs and parent-child dynamics. Let's look at those types of relationships. So obviously I'm going to go over Sagittarius and Aquarius because that is what I am experiencing. And like I said, I literally know a lot of parent-child dynamics, and it involves a Sagittarius and an Aquarius in particular. So I wanted to just throw this out there. I know that everyone has a different upbringing, so obviously no relationship is going to be the same. Even if you have multiple children, you're going to have a different relationship with each of those children. Obviously, you treat each child different because they have different behavior, right? Or different coping styles or different learning levels and abilities, right? So obviously, all of those things are going to determine how you teach them, how you interact with them, and how the overall relationship functions, right? But then you start thinking like, okay, why is there such a consistency as far as from where I can see? I'm not really speaking on a grand scale because I haven't even gone into research, right? Like I should have earlier, about, just the statistics on the amount of children that are born to Aquarius parents that are Sagittarius or vice versa, right? I haven't invested any time into even looking into that. This is just what I heard, and I'm going to pose a question, but I'm going to allow the conversation to be geared based off of just what I have observed. Okay, let me just put that out there. I will eventually start doing the research on the different parent-child, dynamics and how it pertains to zodiac signs and parenting styles, okay? But with this first one, Aquarius and Sagittarius, like I said, the qualities are similar, right? And then when you think of nature itself, air makes fire spread, okay? So this can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing, depending on the environment, depending on a whole bunch of factors, right? But when you think of the personality, the mindset, the traits, right, of the Aquarius, whether nurtured or not, then you think of the Sagittarius, right? You think of the type of personality a Sagittarius can have or is more likely to have, no matter if this is January, February, November, or December, right? Because a lot of these traits and characteristics are pretty much the same, no matter the decan, right? And the decan meaning no matter which period within the zodiac they were born, whether you were born at the beginning, the middle, or the end, basically, right? There's 10 degrees for each zodiac sign is comprised of 30 degrees, right? And they're broken down into 10 degrees each, okay? So what makes the most sense is to gather as much information as possible about these two zodiac signs, right? And then you compare it to the type of parenting style that that parent has, no matter the zodiac, and then you look at how that zodiac sign will mesh with that particular parenting style based on the trait, and how those two zodiac signs come together, how they differ, how they are similar, whatever will allow you to draw a conclusion. You just look at, okay, you can finagle that bagel. I'm just trying to give you guys a lot of different tools to be able to better navigate relationships, especially with the children, right? Because we kind of hinted on this, but we didn't really go into it. So, being as though I said, right, Aquarius like to have their freedom, they like fun, they like to enjoy life, they like to learn things, like the Sagittarius, right? These are some things that they may have in common. They can fall under the permissive, authoritative, or neglectful. Not really authoritarian, because most Aquarius are not that strict like that, right? Unless they've been cultivated in certain environments, have certain traumas, etc., etc. But most Aquarius, right, will probably be either authoritative or neglectful. Okay? They're solving the problems, they're setting the rules and the boundaries, they have open communication with natural consequences. That's the authority, right? Or the neglectful. Okay? The absent one, the one who's busy running, having fun, getting the money, being, out. They have the tendency, or they are known for being cold and distant and brutally honest, right? So that's where that neglectful aspect comes in, where they are not really considerate of how their behavior and movement may affect their child. Okay, so now think of the Sagittarius. Think of how either one of those types of traits or energies can affect a Sagittarius, right? A Sagittarius is usually known for the same thing: roaming, learning, having fun. And sometimes can be an asshole. So when you pair those two types of things, what type of energy do you expect the child to be in? All right. And of course, God has a say-so. God has a plan. We have different cases. This is a general, broad stroke of how to do things. And this is actually how people come up with, different compatibility tools. And it's just different ways to learn, engage relationships, understand them, and craft a foundation around them that's suitable to all parties, in order for both parties to not only be fulfilled within that relationship, but to also flourish, right? Because it's one thing to feel happy, you're content, but you want to grow, right? Because as long as you're living, you're supposed to be expanding and evolving and changing, not just content, right? That's like the end of life. You should only be content when you're ready to die and go ahead, right, and get on. You should always be looking forward to doing something new, being receptive and open to what God may have next in store, right? But before I go, I just wanted to make sure we have this understanding that we're going to start bringing psychology in and just using it as a reference point, or sometimes just having full out conversations on how these things can have a scientific explanation outside of science and or religion, or some sort of scholarly explanation as to what we may be experiencing spiritually. And of course, other cultures may have other, responses to the spiritual components, right? But all right, I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here. I do love y'all. I hope y'all have enjoyed y'all's day. I hope y'all are, drinking y'all water, eating your fruit and vegetables, and sipping on your own tea because it's free. And yeah.